Hello, this is Daniel Landman with the Art Review.
Hi, I'm Yulia Lennon.
And I am Alex. Hi.
Today we're reviewing Louise Bourgeois Boobie Suit.
Yeah, Boobie Suit.
Boobie Suit. You've heard me right.
Okay,
It
so
looks completely not like what I thought it would look
Yeah.
like.
for our viewers that have not seen this painting, can you
It's
give us a
not
little
painting.
description, Daniel, of this suit?
So it's latex. It goes over her whole entire body, where just her head and her legs are coming out, and I think I don't know.
What's
I
the
don't wanna
overall
get in what it
shape, though?
represents. It's very pear-shaped.
Very
but
pear-shaped. Okay.
The breasts are.
Does it cover her arms?
I think her arms can come out.
Or,
But
or-
no, I think her arms are in there. It's very pear-shaped. She
okay,
looks
so it's just like
pear.
a pear, and then her head and legs.
Yeah, and,
pink,
and
brown.
multiple breasts of all shapes and sizes.
Okay.
And they're textured as well. They have,
What, you know what kind of texture?
roughly textured.
No,
but
it's like,
there's no nipples on any of the breast either. I think they were still fighting the battle of nipple appropriation, I guess, or
Okay.
Like, is that like for real?
I'm making it up, man.
It sounds made up.
Well, you can't have a female nipple on social media, but you can have a male nipple.
Oh,
So maybe that's still.
So you can have breasts without nipples.
Yeah.
well, that doesn't count.
Okay.
I mean, you can't really call a sphere a breast. It doesn't. It's just a sphere.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
to me, it doesn't even look like breasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
So,
seen it, fellas, and
Well,
We can tell you.
So, what would you say the skill level?
Did
is?
she make it herself
She made it herself,
okay.
and it
out
was
of latex?
out of latex, and then sewed it together and made a boobie suit,
Okay.
and then wore it around. Got
It,
around
it does require some.
sewing.
Well, this is a good point for discussion. Is that what is it in art that considered to be a skill? You know, I always think I'm a painter, so therefore a skill is a paint. You know,
Yeah, but you
and
have like multimedia artists.
exactly
work with all kinds of
that
medium.
sew, that work with latex, and I assume paint over that latex,
Yeah.
and then wearing it as a suit. So, but I think it's pretty skillful.
Okay.
Takes time,
What would
perfection.
what would your
but I don't think I
number
could
be?
go higher than 6.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, we don't sew, so we don't really know how much skill it took to make it. It's
Well,
hard.
she also had to work from probably a mold too. So she had to mold the latex
Are you sure?
through a mold. Yes.
Well, it's kind of hard to shape latex without a mold.
Yeah.
'Cause
you
it's
need
liquid.
To make the mold. You need to make the sculpture, make the mold, make the latex, and then sew it.
Okay.
You have to be pretty determined to
Yeah.
make a
Boobie
boobie
suit.
suit.
Yeah. Okay, so I would give it a 5 as well.
Oh, I'm gonna
mean, I
give
don't-
it. I'm gonna give it a 9 because I
Just-
love her.
Just to
It's
balance
hard
our.
to, yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's
So
because,
5, 6, and 9 would make it into what, 7?
sure.
We'll go with 7. I'm
Okay.
comfortable
With
with that. Don't be messing with Louise.
There's not
Okay.
many boobie suits made,
No.
so it's kind of hard to compare. Skillfully.
Benchmark it.
Yeah, it's hard
So
to benchmark.
let's go into innovation from that. the
It's
next
really,
category.
really hard
Let's
to.
innovate.
So innovation, as you were just saying, there's one of a kind right there.
I
Boobie
never
suit.
seen another one. Yeah.
I've never seen a boobie suit.
Mm-mm.
I've never worn a boobie suit.
I wish I had a boobie suit.
Where do
I'm sure
buy
you
one?
can make one.
Yeah, I think
No,
the-
that's out there.
I think the innovation runs pretty high too. I would give that a 9 as well for myself. I hear you. I hear you.
She's thinking. Man,
I'm gonna stick to 6s.
Ow.
How many boobs on that
you see.
suit?
There's multiple pairs, if I had to say, they always travel.
Because maybe
in
give
pairs.
it a score depending how many.
There were many boobies on that suit of various shapes.
I'm
and
still gonna
sizes.
6 to 6.
So you don't think the innovation?
No, because I
of
think
the
we
one
have
of a
them.
kind.
You know, so it's the it's not that innovative
Yeah.
Yeah.
for a woman to wear breasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
that-
everywhere. It's like
yeah, I
everywhere.
think that will lead into the next category.
I mean,
for
sir,
sure.
it's kind of
Okay.
like, from what I read, the thing with her about being nude is like the exposure. So I guess it's like being overly exposed with more breast, or I don't know.
So the
Is that-
innovation, are we talking about what she's trying to communicate, or are we talking
No,
about
just like is it an innovative work?
yeah.
And having never seen a boobie suit before, I would give it an 8. I think
Sweet. Sick.
it's like I never heard of it.
Yeah, never worn once.
Never worn one.
All right. So
No
what's-
other artist has ever made in that medium.
There,
yeah.
there might be a reason why.
Very true.
Yeah. Well, yeah, kind of.
So
She
what's-
might have been the only person that could come up with that, because
Yeah.
although because it said like most of her work involves with sexuality and
Oh, definitely.
right. So and then I think sexuality is a thing a lot of people think about. So it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
just her.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know why she decided to cover herself in breast.
That's what I'm going to go into the
That's-
next intro.
You know, okay. So wait, let's.
What's the number?
That's
again?
8, 9, and a 6.
6 on the
Eight.
fence.
8, is
She's
it?
on the fence. I think there's a little booby envy maybe.
I don't know, because visually it's not a good looking.
No, it's not a good look.
Conceptually and visually.
I would not wear it to a party.
Oh, I'd totally wear that.
You were-
I'd rock
would
that
you-
booby
Oh
suit.
man.
Just because you're taller than me.
What's Daniel wearing? Okay, I'll give it an 8. Okay.
Well, I couldn't even understand what it like. I wouldn't think of breasts.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So communication.
To me, it looks like it was from a movie, a scary movie.
They look like growths. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really struggling with communication.
Yeah, what was she
For-
trying to communicate? You were
For
gonna.
commentary, I guess instead of communication, I would just think of like commentary of like the times too, during like the women's movement at that time period of her life. We're very image obsessed in the United States, breast obsessed, and
So it's a kind of
very-
revolt or reaction
yeah,
to
very.
that.
So it's this revolt of like, all right, like people check people out all the time in ways, especially in New York City. It's very like out there in your face. So there's probably a lot more harassment and inequality back then. So with what I see her communicating is just like letting it all out there, and that's why they're all different shapes and sizes, and just being like removing the clothes and being like, look, they're just breast.
But it's also like armor to me. She's
Yeah.
like wearing armor.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, she's not really exposed.
Booby armor.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it was like exposure. It was just more armor.
No,
like
I
I'm
but
wearing
I think
that.
just like the exposing though of that. It would be different if they're all clad in bras.
Yeah.
It would be a very different.
That would make it more obvious. Okay, so what's your score then?
For what it's trying to communicate.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just gonna stick with 9 because I love her.
It's gonna be pretty predictable scoring from Daniel this round.
Yeah, why not 10? I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
I
come
don't
on.
want to seem easy. Over here, Like,
Come on, Dan.
Playing
Isn't your
hard to get.
love like
hard
all
to
the
get.
way? You gotta love it all the way.
I'm gonna stick to 6.
Oh man, I'm gonna give it like a 2.
Okay.
Damn.
Look, if he was not called a booby suit, I would never be able to tell that it was
There
a
was a
booby
booby
suit.
suit. Yeah, I agree with that.
And I don't really know what he's trying to communicate. Like first impression, without
You-
knowing anything, I saw it. And I'm like,
Until you wear one, you can't really.
No, until you have a pair of breasts too, and you're walking in, say, a man's world. And
No, but
like,
okay, so
you're
I
an
get-
object. So like she's taking the object
See, I think it'd be more interesting if a guy wore that.
because
Really?
we.
it make you feel
understand
like a
or-
woman?
to make
Or
us
like-
feel like a woman.
I don't know.
No, but what I'm saying is like I had to go and read about it to kind of like get a grasp of what it was trying to communicate.
Yeah.
We just first looking at it, it was like, is that like a berry? What is
Yeah,
it?
but I think that's true with all art history. It's like I
No,
have to
the-
look. I have to look at
Having
the
discussed the
Cubist
black
movement,
square,
you
we
know,
kinda-
to understand where it comes from as well. So I think understanding like the social commentary of the times, what's going on.
I think it was clearer with the black square. I agree.
You think it was clear?
The message
The
was
black square
clearer.
communicates a lot clearer. Like if you've never seen, that before, a black square hanging up there, then it's kind of like it communicates better than.
I guess you'd have to also. That's why a man necessarily couldn't have that concept, because you'd have to know what it would be like to be a woman in a man's world, and to have
And
that bias
what-
against you.
What years are we talking about? Is the 50s, 60s?
I think
70s?
well, she had a long career, but I think she was rediscovered in the 80s. So I think that was during the 80s. is when
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Okay,
But I'm sticking
so
to
let's.
6.
I'm sticking to, yeah, I just don't think it communicates.
I'll make you a believer.
So what do
I'm
we,
gonna make you a booby
six?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, will it have nipples? Then it'll be more clear.
Mine will have nipples.
Okay, then it'll be like, if you had nipples, I'll give it like
you go
higher
in the
number.
extra mile.
Yeah.
I'm planting seeds.
Okay, well, so I have to be 6 because 6 is kind of
Um,
in the middle between
okay.
2 and 9.
As long
Roughly.
as we stay with the feminine 3 number, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, so
Now it's,
intellectual.
Intellectual property.
Yeah,
You go first.
Um,
We know what
intellectually.
your score is going
Well,
to be.
yeah, it's like intellectual value. Like, what is
yeah, I think even with other things that we're exploring, like with the condition of the subconscious and consciousness, and the time periods in which she was around, I think it did have a certain property in all of her work. I've gotten to hear a lot of her interviews through my school. She taught at Pratt, and I read interviews of hers in a book called Deconstructing the Father, and there is a lot of connection. She's seeing how it connects to like her relationships with the mother, the father figure, society. So I give it. Can you guess?
a 9?
No, I'm gonna go with a 9.
Okay. Never saw that coming.
Yes.
Gotta keep them guessing.
And I'm going to go with
A 9.
a 6
But if you turn a 6
into
upside
a
down,
9.
it's 9.
Maybe for emotion.
Yeah. Oh.
For the next
Emotionally.
point. Yeah.
Well, let me see. Intellectual. Oh, man, intellectually, I think for that time, when it was, the whole revolution, the women's revolution, I think historically it's very significant. I know that. Because she's, a feminist
'Cause you
icon.
told us?
No. It's just like, it's like a feminist thing. Like, we speak of her as one of the first feminist
Yeah.
artists. So, yeah, I give it a 7,
Sweet.
So,
Make it
so
a
what's the
believer.
total? Like a 7?
Yes.
9. We'll go with 7.
Okay, 7 or 8. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Emotion.
I think it's a very emotional piece. I
Okay.
would be very emotional to wear that.
But
No,
What
it's you can't ignore it. Like that's kind of to me.
Definitely.
First time when I saw it, it wasn't obvious that it was breasts that they were portraying, but it's very visible and it's a big statement to me. And it's also that latex. I can imagine if I actually saw it in real with that texture. Doesn't evoke nice emotions in me, but
Yeah.
I think it's very emotional.
so what would you?
7.
Oh, damn.
Whoa.
We're creeping up. Wait until we get to livability.
Well, emotionally, for me, if I struck like even the art piece alone, and there was someone with a real boobie suit, I'd probably just want to run and give them a big hug and be like
Surrounded.
resting on a bunch of boobies. It must be like, it would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
We really don't want to know about your fantasies.
So
Like so many.
yeah, it'd be like, it'd be pretty amazing, I think. So
Yeah.
the emotional aspect, I'm gonna have to go with a 9. Keep the course.
Yeah. Stick to your.
I feel like if I was walking by, I'd be like,
Nice set of
Oh, you make me cry, guys. Feel very emotional.
okay, yeah. Like I don't know if I would I think I would just what is that? 5?
So you're gonna give it a 5?
I think so. Yeah.
So
Like I would recognize it as a statement. I'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, they're making a statement, and it's a statement.
Yeah. And
I agree with it. I agree. Yeah, it's like
I'm sure if like you're a woman, maybe you'd have a deeper connection.
Excuse
like,
me?
No, maybe. If you're living within those times, and
You're the one throwing out
you're
nines.
in the trenches. So what we got?
You go between
well,
7 and 9. So
Yeah, 9, 7, and 6. Did I give it? Like
5,
5,
7,
five.
and 9. So 7 it has to be,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So
Livability. Oh man.
would you wear it on on a fine
How often?
day?
On a fine day. I would probably like to know what it felt like to have multiple breasts.
How many
walking
times
around.
though? How many times?
I could probably just wear it once.
You can't live with it, hanging on the wall.
Hanging on wall. I don't think I could live with it hanging on a wall by itself. I think as a picture and as a statement, it's great, but I don't have room in my closet for a boobie suit. So I'd give it a flat 5.
I
No,
think
this
we're
is just
doing
a one.
like a 1 or
Oh.
0.
If you can live with it or not, basically.
Oh, I'd give it 0.
Okay.
I have to say, it has to be a 0 for me.
Yeah. 0.
No,
I
not a
wouldn't know
PC
where to put
exhibit.
it. It doesn't look.
Yeah.
It doesn't have many uses.
No.
Yeah.
So,
So.
I can't garden with it. I can't drive my car with it. Nothing. No armholes
You can't
on that
sleep
thing.
with it. It's a cushion.
It's a good
Can you sleep with it?
conversation piece.
It's a great conversation
Yeah.
piece.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to walk into a church with it.
All right, now
would say
commercial
that.
success.
No, we're
we're not doing that?
Mm-mm.
Well, it was featured in a few fashion runway shows at the time too.
Mhm. Well, we got like 3 minutes left. So, anything more you want to say about it? While I add.
This is very coarse.
Who doesn't love boobies? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how successful she was during her lifetime.
She became an icon.
What?
So
How
there
come-
was a huge
0.
there's a huge gap in her career as when she was a homemaker raising her child, but she always created artwork, and then she's quoted as saying she was rediscovered, but she had always been there. So she had like a 30-40 year gap between like when she started and then she was rediscovered when she was older.
Because I think to me this is a kind of a sentimental note, but I remember watching some videos of her being surrounded by young people at like kind of discussion tables,
Yeah.
and I thought this is a wonderful way to kind of end your life in a way that you are still eminent people appreciate you, and young artists want to
Yeah.
hang out with you. I mean, certainly I think for me that would be an amazing way to kind of come to the.
And she did those spiders too in her lifetime at the Tate, so she had a lot of clout and a lot of people really looked up to her. Great interview person, great, articulated so much for me as a young artist. Like she did the work for me. And then when I heard it, it was like a bell. It had a certain resonation of truth to it. And I was like, wow, thank you for doing this work for me. Now I can go to the next level with it.
So
Okay,
is it a
well,
0 or 1?
Yeah, I
Are
guess
we-
35.
It's 35.
35 points, yeah.
I love
Again.
her.
Thanks to Daniel.
Thanks to Daniel for choosing this piece, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. This was the art review.
And once again, if you have any comments about the Boobie Suit, feel free to leave them down below.
Make sure you hit the like button.
All right. Thank you,
Thank
everybody,
you.
and bye-bye.
Bye.